Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Fazila and you're tuning into Fazila Reads. Today's video is going to be a dedicated book review for The Springtide Harvest by J.D. Mitchell. Thank you so much to J.D. Mitchell for providing me a review copy of this book in exchange for an honest review. I also received a physical review copy and a bookmark from the author. Thank you so much for your kindness. I really appreciate it. So the book has reached India and I'm eagerly waiting for it to arrive here back in UAE so that I can physically pace through it. Now, Springtide Harvest is a wonderful and captivating debut novel. It's a fantasy about coming of age with some darker themes and elements. So I buddy read this book with a bunch of others on Indie Accords Discord, and it was such a fun experience. We were discussing the various theories we had about the plot's possible twists and turns, and I'm pleased to say that one of my predictions, or rather suspicions, proved to be correct. In the story, we have two coming of age arcs, and I loved both of them. So, we start the story by following Haskell, who is a naive and a young idealistic man as he tries to navigate and find his way in the world. He has been feeling unwanted by his father and has been always compared to his perfect sister. Now, all of this has gotten too old for him, so as a result, he decides to go explore the world, become a guild quester like his grandfather, whose stories he had always found to be intriguing and captivating. After making a grave mistake that could get him in trouble with the law, he decides to leave his home in the dead of the night. Haskell goes to his father's office and steals his father's savings and starts on this adventure on his own. He gets to meet new people and kind of starts to assemble his own crew by the time he gets to the borderlands. With a bag full of stolen coins and big dreams, Haskell will be in for a rude awakening as his dreams start to crumble in the face of the harsh reality. As with any young, impressionable person, Haskell makes mistakes and learns the hard way that the world is not as it seems or as he thought. And there is a lot of corruption in the politics, and people are scheming while chasing power. He also has to figure out how to be a better leader as he takes his group on these different quests. On these quests, they are expected to hunt down goblins and other non-human monsters and retrieve a lot of treasures. All of these quests have an underlying tone of a larger scheme, treachery, and manipulation, which is not fully explored in the book, but I'm sure we'll be seeing it in the future books. I really enjoyed the story and was invested in Haskell's journey from the beginning. Haskell was a very interesting character to follow, especially because you get a lot of character growth in him. In the beginning, he starts out as somebody who is very sure of himself, cocky, and at times looks down upon people who are in charge, thinking he knows better, thinking he is better, and that he's morally better. But all of this changes when he realizes the reality of the world and how it works. It does take quite a bit for him to see the error of his ways, and that journey was fantastic to see. I love the character exploration aspect we get to see for him. I was so nervous every time he opened his bag to spend the money, and he does it so carelessly without thinking too much about it. It's not that he didn't care at all, it's just that he was always generous, maybe too generous. He was a big softy at heart and was always eager to help others. Most of the time, it just backfired on him. Being too trusting and not well versed in the ways of the world is just not the best combo when you're trying to be the leader. I really enjoyed seeing him getting humbled and then having to change his way of thinking. It was a believable journey as far as I was concerned. The other character who's also following her own coming of age story is Froba. She's a young girl street urchin who is part of the corrupt city watchman's crew. I loved following her journey, maybe tad bit more than Haskell's, because her inner conflicts and the more layered journey she had ahead of her. I really liked the moral questions she had, and as she was working for Ferd and then eventually working with Haskell. Her relationship with the guildmaster was also wonderful to see because they had very interesting, insightful conversations regarding life and choices. Haskell also has similar conversations with the guildmaster, but let's just say that most of the things just go over the top of his head. And all I'm going to say is the guildmaster is definitely a character to watch out, and I really like that character as well. When you start the book, you get a group of diverse characters, and at a first glance, they all appear to be who they claim to be. But as the story progresses, we get to see who most of them really are. We have already met Haskell, our main character, Froba, a street urchin thief, Orad, who's a half orc, Zinzi, who's the most level headed and the sane one out of them. Flint is a master cook and a very wise guild master who obviously has her own agenda in all of this, and I believe she's playing a long game. The corrupt watchman Ferd, a few other warriors, and so on. Some of the characters we get to meet are more developed than the others, but it was still done well enough to follow along. We also get a couple of reveals that were incredible. I really like the easy companionship, loyalty, and friendship Haskell managed to develop throughout the story. I'm also really invested in Ferd's story, which I didn't think I would be when I started the book. So it's an arc I will definitely keep an eye on. There are so many different ways in the story could continue from where it ended. The possibilities are truly limitless. I really like the politics, the scheming, and the maneuvering that was happening in the background to come to power. It's a theme that gets repeated in this book, and you can see how power hungry these people were and the ones that were pulling the strings in order to bring everyone to heel. There is also the mention of how humans are the worst monsters, which makes you really curious about the ethics of the guild itself. There are other nuggets and themes that get lightly touched upon but don't get expanded too much on this one. So I'm curious to see how they will be developed further in the upcoming books. The world was really interesting to see with the mention of a bigger world out there, but at the moment we are focusing just on the borderlands. It's filled with humans, orcs, goblins, and other monsters. There is some magic, and we get to see only a little bit of it. What we did get to see was interesting enough, and so I'm really curious to see more of the world and know more about the histories and the various races that we have. It would be amazing if those also got expanded upon in the upcoming books because there are some arcs and threads that hint at bigger roles for them. The writing was fantastic, very vivid and descriptive. All of the quest scenes were so well done with just the right amount of tension and excitement to make me feel like I was there firsthand. I had a good time reading the book, but I wish it didn't end so soon. And I was hoping we got to explore a few of the moments in greater detail. There were also some themes and nuggets in there that I would have loved to see developed further. We got to explore a few of the moments in greater detail, but not all of them. Overall, it was an enjoyable and a wonderful read. I'm really looking forward to continuing the series. Even though the book ended rather satisfactorily, I'm not going to be fooled by this false sense of security and safety it gives. There are just too many things brewing under the surface, and I believe all those for sure waiting for the chance to come to the top. I've seen this book being described as having D&D vibes. As someone who has never played it, I can't really attest to that part of the book, but I will say this. The quest side of it felt more like a computer game, and it has that feel to it. So if you enjoy similar type of stories that focus on characters and have some of the themes and ideas that I've mentioned explored, then definitely pick this one up. It tells an engaging story with believable characters and could easily work as a standalone. Even though this is a quest, this story is not all fast-paced adventures and fight scenes. It also has quieter moments of character growth and introspection, as well as some politics and scheming in the background. So if any of that sound fascinating to you, definitely pick this one up. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.